You're listening to The Sizzle.
Iron Skillet Sports presents.
You know who it is. You know what it is. It's The Sizzle here on Iron Skillet Radio, Iron Skillet Television. We are the hottest talking the 219. We are the only talking the 219 that brings you everything you need to know. Guess who's in the building? Jay Sizzle,
Yes, sir.
Rich Sizzle.
Hey.
Oh, baby, we're getting ready to make it hot, fire, flame, fire in the building. But before we can do that, we got to tell you what the word of the week is. The word of the week is Travis-shamockery. Rich Sizzle, do you know what a Travis-shamockery is?
Sounds like something I experienced when I'm at McDonald's.
Well, it is.
Almost right.
Yeah,
I'm
almost.
sitting there, and the person in front of me is like ordering 1,000 things on the menu.
Yeah.
And they always getting it messed up. And then I'm sitting there, I just want to order like 2 things. You know what I'm saying? A large Coke and an apple pie. And I can't even get that. And then they can't even get that right. And then I'm still sitting in a 2-lane line waiting for about a half hour to 45 minutes just to get a Coke, just for them to mess it up and give me a Diet Coke instead.
Yeah. Hey, don't you hate those people, Rich, who get up there at McDonald's like they never been at McDonald's before? You know?
You ever see?
What y'all got?
You know, I'm around the neighborhood. You know, I'm not gonna call it the urban whatever, but every once in a while I'm in a line and it's a hover round right in front of me that's taking its sweet old time.
A hover round?
A hover round, yeah.
In the drive-thru?
Going to the drive-thru, yeah. To the drive-thru.
That's
I'll show you the pictures if you want me to.
That's hilarious.
Well, you know, a Travis-shamockery is the fact or the act of making sure that it's a continued egregious act of foolishness and buffoonery. That's right. On the Sizzle, not only do you learn new things, you understand that now when you pull up to the McDonald's line, you say to the teller or the woman taking your order or the man, I don't want any of your Travis-shamockery.
Or Good Lord.
So, no more Travis-shamockery.
Yeah.
So, listen, fellas, let's get right to the hardwood. Let's talk about what's going on in the NBA, in the bubble. Yo, we've got to talk about it really quick because we've got a lot going on. It's a lot of moving parts and a lot of parts that are going to be moving out very soon.
A lot of people be leaving the bubble pretty soon.
Right. There's going to be a lot of bubble exiting very soon. Everybody's going to get on the boat.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the first people who might be getting on the boat, and that's the Milwaukee Bucks. Right now, the Bucks are down. It's a 3-1 series to the Miami Heat, and I don't see how the Bucks are going to wade them way out of this situation. So let me start with you, Jay Sizzle. Can the Bucks come back and win this series?
That's an absolutely what the buck? No, they can't come back and win. They can't come back and win this series. No, they cannot. You got Giannis. He's legs now. He jacked it up. Look, kudos to Giannis for coming back and playing in that 4th game because he really shouldn't have played then. Put up 19 points, and all of a sudden the leg said no, and he went down in the heap, and so the Milwaukee Bucks season has went down in the heap. They're out of there, and I think Giannis is going to be out of there too.
Yeah, it's a weird situation. Now, the question is, Rich Sizzle, is Miami this good? Have we been sleeping on Miami this whole season?
They're good. I mean, you look at their roster and you're like, why are you that good? But they've got a lot of moving pieces, and they match up well with the Bucks. I think that was more of a mercy win, you know, kind of like, yeah, we're gonna give you one. I mean, come on now. The Bucks are a cool team. You don't want to see them leave just yet, you know. I mean, let them have a little fun. I mean, like I said, the mercy win. Giannis went down. It was like, we can't beat y'all with your best player down. We're gonna let you at least, you know, have a chance to whatever. Have a chance to go get another fade at the bubble shop, the bubble barber shop. So, I mean,
well, obviously Jimmy Butler has not found the bubble barber shop.
But he has manners, and that's why he's not going to sweep nobody.
He looks like a wild caveman from the Uba tribe. You know what I'm saying?
He looks like somebody who's caught on the other side of Wakanda.
Yeah.
I don't know where that is, but he's been.
He ain't got no vibranium over there.
Yeah.
No,
man. But seriously, though,
Yeah.
Miami has gone straight, fundamental, hard, hardwood,
Yeah.
gritted out basketball.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Milwaukee has a non-traditional format that is matched up imperfectly with Miami. And Miami's got their number.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do. And Tyler Hero has been excellent.
He's been
Bam
good, ain't he?
Adebayo has been great since he
Yeah.
was moved into the starting lineup.
Yeah.
They have everything clicking, and it looks like it's going to be a quick exit for the Bucks. But okay, so let's talk about that. If it's a quick exit for the Bucks, what does this mean for the future of Giannis Antetokounmpo in Milwaukee?
There is no future. What you talking about? Giannis is going sailing or flying or wherever you want to go. He will not be in Milwaukee. Let them roll out and not make it to at least the Eastern Conference Finals. He's out of there. He will be in a Warriors jersey, more than likely.
You're absolutely right, Mr. Rich Sizzle. He will be in a Warriors jersey. You're absolutely right. And the Bucks don't act quickly. They're going to mess around and not get anything for Giannis because the Warriors have that second pick, and they would trade it. They would figure it out and give it to him for Giannis. But if they don't do something, Giannis is going to come there anyway, and they're going to have the second pick in the draft. Nobody wins NBA championships for the next 4 seasons after this because they will be unstoppable.
Yeah, well, I know somebody who's going to stop him.
Who?
The Lake Show is back and rolling. They're back on the water. They're back on the boat. And they're doing things to people that have never been done before.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis has braids that have never been seen before. And now Rajon Rondo has cornrows. Oh, you weren't ready for that, were you? You weren't ready for Rajon, the cornrow. Yeah, I bet you weren't.
Didn't he have like a fade at one point in time, like about 3 weeks ago? How you get cornrows in 3 weeks?
He always had Caesars, and now
Yeah.
you look around, and now he looks like a lost member from the Wu-Tang Clan. I don't know, but he's back, and it's right, and it's real. So the question
Look like
is,
he's had a string of bad days for real.
he's been COVIDed. So the question is, can the Lake Show, or will the Lake Show, bring an end to the Rocket season prematurely?
I don't know. Look, the Rockets, man, now, Westbrook cannot go out there and have the game that he had this last ball game, where he would, toward the end of the game, he just wasn't there anymore. He's got to come in and slow his game down, which I know he can't do, but he's got to be a little bit better at about creating his own shot, getting the ball up, and they have to let James Harden eat. James Harden is the most unstoppable force, and I'm including that in LeBron James in that. He's the most unstoppable offensive force in the league right now. You have to let James Harden eat. Westbrook's got to hold up his end. If you can do this, you can beat the Lakers. They already showed that. But once Westbrook goes out there and throwing the ball over his shoulder while he's falling out of bounds, eating some popcorn and tying up his shoes, he starts doing stuff like that, they're going to lose again.
We saw like 4 different versions of the Rockets yesterday.
Yeah.
And you saw we're up 1 game, we got their number, no big deal. Now we're getting blown out by 15 points.
Yeah.
And then we saw we just chucking up shots. We got a wide open layup down here, but let's shoot the 3. And now we down by 20 points.
Yeah.
And then started a half, and they finally got it together. Said we're gonna go back and play our Houston Rockets, hardcore grit, get the shot, keep going. Burn rubber. Then they started winning, and then they went back to this. Well, we're gonna play at the Lakers tempo. I was like, come on, man.
Yeah.
That Rockets team should beat the Lakers. If they don't, it's their fault because they're not sticking to their game. They're allowing the LeBroners to intimidate them for whatever purpose or reasons. They had Anthony Davis's number in that game. They pretty much punked him at will, and then all of a sudden yielded to him for some reason. I don't know why. PJ Tucker has been a goon, and they just won't play their game. Maybe it was just a hiccup from game 2, but that was a game that Houston should have won. They should have been 2-0 easily.
Well, I've got a question for you, Jay Sizzle. Out of the digital bleacher box, I'm going to throw one at you.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you one. I'm going to throw this at you. Is Russell Westbrook, is he cast right on this Rockets team?
He's not
He's
not cast right anywhere. He's not cast right
anywhere.
No, because he's Russell. I gotta have the ball. Westbrook. Can't none of y'all run fast as me. Westbrook, what y'all mean? I'm going to kill everybody on the court. Westbrook, this guy is a serial killer in gym shoes. Look, Westbrook is just insane. He is just so manic. And you know he's one of the most intelligent people. You ever hear see him in interviews? Super intelligent, though, but that's how a lot of serial killers are. You know what I'm saying? This guy cannot control himself because he's just on 27 all the time. And you just had, look, he's with James Harden, who is a lifelong friend of his. That's a big deal because I don't think anybody else would put up with his nonsense on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? Who has he made better playing with him?
Yeah, you might have a point there.
You know,
Russell Red Bull is definitely in a whole nother. I mean, I'm watching him, and I'm just like, if I could bottle up a little bit of that energy, man, I could go for years.
Yeah.
But that equated yesterday to 5 fouls, and he basically had to play a shell of himself in the fourth quarter.
Right.
Which was another reason to their catastrophe in that game.
Right. So
when he's out there playing controlled.
Yeah.
I mean, aggressive but controlled, he's fine. But I mean, he lost it in an effort of trying to get that game back, and didn't capitalize from it. I mean, like I said before, y'all laughed at me. Russell Red Bull was best on the Bulls. They could have traded everybody else, let Red Bull be the man, and he'd be acting a fool in the Eastern Conference, probably getting ready to send the Bucks on their way home.
Yeah. But you know what? Really, I think put the dagger in the Rockets was Marif Morris just came out there and went insane, knocking down those 4 3-pointers. And with Westbrook playing like he was, just out of control, all of a sudden we looked up and there was no way of coming back off of that. It's not like LeBron's killing them. It's just not like that's happening. AD's going to have a good game, but you're going to give those guys their points. But the other part of the Lakers have to show up. Kuzma has to show up. Those guys, they haven't been – JaVale McGee, where's JaVale? Where is Superman? Did he leave?
JaVale
He was out.
McGee.
He was out?
He didn't play.
Yeah, he didn't play. So he wasn't even there?
No, I don't remember why he was out, but no, he was inactive.
So I'm wondering.
I didn't see Super Guy.
Yeah, and I haven't heard if he was hurt or not. So I mean, I don't know what that situation is all about. But
he might have been getting his cornrows done. You never know.
Could be.
Right.
We all need to get our cornrows. But what I'm saying is, back to your point, Rich, about Westbrook, is that if he can control himself and not get himself in these ridiculous trouble, that he can't be Russell Westbrook. He just has to be Russ. You know what I'm saying? Like, pass me the ball, I'm gonna pass you the ball, I'm throwing it out of bounds. If you can, if you could just stop being Russ and be Russell Westbrook, they can win this series.
Yeah, he definitely went from Russell Red Bull to Russell Mountain Dew real quick.
Shots. Bang. Wow, that's a lot of shots. Okay, so I'm going to hit you with an out of the bleacher question, Rich Sizzle. Oh, yeah. Here's the good one. Is Mike D'Antoni going to be the head coach of the Rockets next season?
If they win. If they win, there's no reason to blow that team up. And they still have a really good shot at it. Now they come up short. I don't think anyone's going to be on that team left. Sans maybe James Harden. That's it. Everybody else is going to be sitting there shopping with their Samsonite bag, talking about where's my one-way ticket going.
Wow. Because it's amazing that they carry Samsonite. I thought they only carried Gucci and Polo and Coach. I didn't know they had Samsonite. I carry Samsonite.
Samsonite don't tear up, though.
Yep, you're right.
They may show you Gucci. They probably paint Gucci on the side of the Samsonite. But like I said, that must say Samsonite because it's gonna be a lot of bouncing and dribbling through that airport terminal.
And ain't nobody stealing Samsonite. You put a Gucci bag on it, you gonna come off. You're gonna have a garbage bag out there tied up with some construction tape.
That's true.
With your stuff in it.
So true.
Yeah.
So I mean, you've got Daniel House who's playing well. You've got Robert Covington playing well. We just said they've got players who are. And nobody expected Eric Gordon to have the night he was having. And then all of a sudden it just stopped. And then you knew
did.
their run was at an end when you saw Russell Westbrook try and hit an open three. Open. The widest open three that you've probably seen this season.
Yeah.
And it was horrific.
Yeah.
It was almost so bad that you wanted him just to go and sit down. Like, just come on and sit down.
You know that's going to make
your game.
You know it's going to make Shaq the fool. You know what I'm saying?
It has to.
When you
I mean, it was like
that.
it was nobody out there. LeBron James was so far away from him. LeBron didn't even try. He just did the little crab, and he was like, "Yeah, you're not."
Yeah, you're not making that one. You know you're not making that one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. They went cold. They went cold. Like I said, Red Bull got that fifth foul, and you could tell he turned into a whole nother person.
Oh yeah.
And they were up at the time, but it was like, okay, we think we can win this just by taking our foot off the gas but keeping it idle. It's like, this is a Lakers team with some pieces on there that are champions.
Yeah.
You cannot just come up in there limping around expecting to take that victory. You're not going to win no game in the Western like that.
Yeah, the question is, really, do the Rockets really have a realistic shot at winning against the Lakers in this round of the playoffs? Can they beat the Lakers?
Yeah, they could beat the Lakers. Yeah, they could beat the
Okay.
But they gotta play regular Rocket basketball and push the ball up and down the court. Look, that first game, they scared LeBron James that first game because they were coming out. It was 5 guys running down the court, and LeBron wasn't ready for that. Now they slow down. They start playing, as Rich said earlier, they start playing the Lakers' pace. Well, all of a sudden now, you ain't built for that. Now we're just going to dump the ball in there in the AD. We're going to get you guys on a high pick and roll. We're going to get you guys switching our big man onto your small. We're going to bury you into the post. And now what are you going to do? You know, that's not their game. Their game, D'Antoni's like, if we shoot more shots than you from the three, we're just going to outscore you. We don't care if the game is 145 to 142. We just want to outscore you. We know that the Lakers are going to have a problem later on advancing in scoring the basketball at a big clip on a regular basis. We know that's going to be a problem. The Houston Rockets have to use that to their advantage, speed up the game, get moving, start attacking the basketball, make AD have to run.
When you look at the dynamics, you are absolutely right. There's only 2 people that you have to worry about on the Lakers. When Alex Caruso is your general guard, where are the rest of them at? What has Danny Green been doing? Where's Case? They just signed Deion Waiters, and he was just sitting on the side drinking a Starbucks or something like that.
Yeah.
You don't have any other play. Rondo was okay defensively, but he made a few shots, a couple on offense when he was wide open. Contested, he wasn't doing nothing. This is a very beatable team if the Lakers don't decide to show up. If they rely just on LeBron and Anthony Davis, they're going to be disappointed. The rest of those guys are going to have to show up with that Rockets team if they decide to play, like you said, Rocket basketball.
Yeah, it's a really big proposition for them as being the Rockets to see if they can get over this hump. But since we're here and we're talking about it, let's stay in the Western Conference, and we can talk about the Eastern Conference also. What are your predictions for both of you moving forward in the playoffs? What do you see happening as we get ready to go to the conference finals? What would be your predictions if you had to say from right now, this is what's going to happen moving forward?
Well, I think that second game with the Clippers, I think they just took a night off or something like that. I don't know what was going on. Mm-hmm. But I do think the Clippers will bounce back and they'll win that. They'll win that easily. Now, the question mark, I thought Boston was just going to dog walk the Raptors, and now they've decided to wake up and make it a series. So the Celtics, their depth should kind of see it through, but if they're not careful, they're going to be sent back home with a lot of questions that need to be answered and maybe a lot of moving around with that team as well.
Yeah, I'm 100% with Rich on the Clippers. I think that's the team to beat in the bubble right now. I think with Kawhi and Paul George, I just think they're going to be super consistent, and I think that's what's going to happen with that. But beyond that, though, I mean, they got to play consistently, but beyond that, it's really the bubble's up for grabs. I never thought I would be saying this, But you're looking at all these teams now going into the semis. Anybody can win this right now. You know, anybody can really win this. You just got to have, because nobody's really, the only injured person we really have was Giannis. I mean, beyond that, we had guys dislocating a finger, a couple of things like that. But for the most part, all the players are still there, so it's still wide open from the way I see it. But I really think, like you said, Rich, I really look at the Clippers really pulling this together. They're going to start playing better as we go along.
Yeah, it's interesting to look and see. We have all this Laker love, but when you look at the reality of what's being the product that you see, maybe the Clippers have not been, and maybe that's my question about the Clippers. They haven't been consistent right now. It doesn't look like they're in sync right now. It almost looks like somebody's out of shape, and not just shape. It's the basketball shape. It's like they haven't gotten their legs up under them yet. So we're going to see how this works out in the Western Conference. And I think the East is really up for grabs. Anybody can take the East at this point because you're going to see a Heat team come in that nobody expected to make that push for the Eastern Conference Finals and possibly going to the championship. So it's going to be something. I don't know how we're going to really look at this moving forward, but those are great predictions. So we've given you Sizzle predictions for the NBA on the hardwood. All right, fellas. So let's talk about it. You know what's getting ready to happen. It's a national holiday. It's a Sizzle holiday. It is the Gridiron. That's right. It's the return of the Gridiron segment. Oh, baby. It's going to be great. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be fantastic. Yeah. So, you know, we're going to talk about fantasy in a little bit, but let's just talk about what are your views? What do you think about when you talk about the NFL season, this 2020 season? Jay, I'll start off with you. What are your thoughts for the upcoming season? What are your predictions? What are your hopes? What are you looking forward to? Let's start with you. What is this 2020 season going to be for you?
Come on, Dak Prescott. Come on, Dak Prescott. Come on, Dak Prescott. Come on, Dallas. Let's go. You got the roster. You got everything you need. You done paid everybody. There's no excuses anymore. Absolutely no excuses. Dak, on paper, one of the top 5, 6, 7 quarterbacks, 8 quarterbacks in the league. But when you see Dak playing, you just don't see him taking them to win the Super Bowl. You just don't see it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He's got to produce when he needs to produce. He's a stat filler. You got the best running back in the league sitting behind you, one of the best offensive lines sitting in front of you, and one of the better wide receiving cores sitting out in front of you, and you still are not sure that you're going to be a shoe-in to get into to win your conference championship. I don't know. They got to come on and get with it. My number 2 person is down in Tampa Bay, my friends.
Here we go.
They're pulling them off the scrap heap. Leonard Fournette, are you kidding me? They put him in the backfield with Shady? Come on, man. This is Thomas Brady. What's his middle name? James or something like that? Earl? Ray? Something like that.
What's wrong with that, though?
Look, let me tell you something. Leonard Fournette, man, let's put him in the right position. Let's give him the football like you need to give him to him behind that good offensive line. Let that play action go to work for you. That's what I'm saying. No, I thought it was a good thing. I mean, you got Leonard Fournette, and you got Shady McCoy in your backfield, and behind that good offensive line, behind them tight ends, behind them the wide receivers, and you got Thomas Brady. It's over with. It's done.
I hope that you are happy. And I really do hope that Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. sends you a check for all of your TB12 love.
Hey, I'm going to see if I can get me a TB12 jersey, man, because it's about to be ugly down there. That's going to be about 35 points a ball game down there.
Well, I know one place you can't get a TB12 jersey anymore, and that is in New England. So, Rich Sizzle, I hear there's a quarterback there who's helping them move past the Brady era. In fact, they won't even remember his name anymore. John Brady, something like that. It's the guy.
Cam Brady.
Yeah, Pam Brady. Yeah, it can be Marsha.
Cam Brady Newton. There is his name.
Yeah, well, there's another guy. There's a Fig Newton down there who's going to give you the Chewy Center, and he's going to give it to you.
Fig Newton.
Yes, and Inspector Gadget. What's that detective guy? Darkwing Duck, whatever you
Oh,
Wow, Darkwing
wow.
Duck, you went over that way.
Wow, you pulled one.
whatever cosplay outfit he's gonna be wearing on week 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Yes, he was named the starter, but
Hey, don't you be disrespectful of Ross the Newton. Don't you do it. Don't you do it.
No, how dare
Don't
you
you
throw? How dare you throw that question at me? Didn't throw the J question, okay? Because there's some things that I want to see too. You know, and they're not even really like play related.
Rich, you got the floor. Go ahead and say what you want to say.
Thank you, appreciate it. I don't like the Packers. We know that, but I just want to see what's gonna happen when the first player scores a touchdown in Green Bay and jumps into that blank crowd and falls into the ether somewhere.
You see his feet sticking up out the stands?
I'm waiting for Seattle to play.
Maybe they'll put the little foam people, the little foam things, and they'll breeze and you jump into them.
They're gonna need to, because you're gonna have the whole offensive team hurt trying to go into the chairs and stuff. It's not gonna work out well. You know, I'm waiting to go to Seattle where they got the big 12 laying somewhere out, and all you're seeing through the rest of the stadium is little cactus things just rolling around because there's just nobody there.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I'm just looking forward to. I want to sit there and go to the Washington football team and see what pop-ups come up out of there. I guarantee you not one person better be Native American in that pop-up. Otherwise, it's going to be a fiasco. I'm just saying. Hey, these are the things that I'm looking forward to. Anything controversial / non-controversial in Washington that they can peg down on. They better have it better be all Sesame Street characters in there. That's the only way they survive. It is what it is. There you go. That's what I'm waiting on.
This season, are we going to find the hidden tapes of Dan Snyder's Girls Gone Wild, the Washington football team version?
Oh, dude. This is going to be...
Come on, man.
Because, you know, everybody writing the book. You know, everybody's writing the book because everybody's sitting inside. The COVID got people crazy. I'm writing a book about everybody. Oh, Dan Snyder, believe me, it's about to all come out. It's about to.
I'm waiting for Adrian Peterson's book to come out.
What we slapped them kids
when we walked through the wrong door. The Dan Snyder story.
Because I'm a play on every NFL team until I get more rushing.
Oh yeah, I'm playing on every team until I get a championship. I'm playing for everybody.
Hey,
I'm playing tight end, running back.
Kudos to him. That guy's in fantastic shape. That he can keep running out there and keep playing. Hey, if you can keep cashing checks and you ain't got to play that much, why not? How many snaps a game does he actually play? 10 now? You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Has he now become the number one threat for the Chicago Bears?
Hey,
no, I know who the number one threat is.
Oh,
good.
It's beyond enemy lines. It's Mitchell Trubisky.
We were trying to avoid it. We weren't going to talk any Bears, but
I wasn't going to do it. But okay, Rich Sizzle, go ahead, do it.
You know what grinds my gears?
What's burning your biscuits, Rich Sizzle?
All the quarterbacks that they passed up on to sign for competition to grab Nick Foles and pay him all that money.
Yeah.
Just to tell him, sit this one out, man. We really did need you. We just wanted to try to get him to wake up, because we all know we're going to get fired this year regardless, so we might as well get fired with the biggest mistake of all time that any sports team has ever made.
You know, I listened to Matt Nagy earlier today talking about in depth about how he decided who was going to be the Bears starting quarterback. And it really came down to that, you know, we really didn't have any preseason, and so Nick Foles really couldn't get enough snaps to learn the offense well enough. But had he learned the offense well enough, the competition might have been a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, that did not sound like a budding endorsement of their starting quarterback. It just didn't. It's just, you know what? No, I'm really upset with the Bulls. I mean, the Bulls, the Bears. Bulls too, but the Bears.
Them too. Yeah.
Look, you had 3 or 4 chances to bring in a real quarterback into the fold up there in Hallis Hall, and you refused to do it because you didn't want to hurt Mitch's feelings. That's why. Because he can't leave the TV on and listen to everybody talking to him negatively. What's going to happen when they're 1-3, and all of a sudden now, because there ain't going to be no boo birds because there's nobody in the stands, but people are literally going to be turning the game off, and now you got to run Nick Foles out there. My problem was, why not bring in a quarterback that can compete not only for a starting position, but one for the top 10 quarterbacks in the league? You got all these quarterbacks they passed on. Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, and every other 29 other quarterbacks before Mitchell Trubisky. Do you know they ranked the quarterbacks? They ranked them. And Mitchell Trubisky.
And he's not even on there. He's not even ranked.
38th.
I'm saying he's not even ranked. They ranked Nick Foles ahead of him. Yet he can't. He can't start right, and he still started. This is a nonsense we got going on in Chicago.
You know, you've got Ryan Tannehill sitting out there who has a better ranking.
Give me
I'm
Alex.
just saying.
Give me
He
Alex
wasn't
Smith.
the number 2 pick.
Give me Alex Smith.
Give me Alex Smith.
I said that. No one wanted to hear me, and now he's out there with his bionic leg getting ready to go.
Give me Alex
Yeah.
Smith.
Well, I mean, as long as Alex Smith doesn't get killed on the field by automatic circulation being cut off from a hit, he should be pretty good to go, I guess.
I have the silver lining in all of this, though.
Oh,
Because
all
I
right.
do.
All right.
Okay.
When the dust settles
Mhm.
and all hope is lost that the Bears have lost their marbles, in will come this one guy unexpectedly will turn this all around because he himself is facing a similar karma. And his name is Aaron Rodgers.
To the Bears?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. I don't know, man.
That first round pick that the Packers took for a quarterback, they will turn to him sometime this year.
You don't think they're just gonna let him sit behind the great one and get a little tutelage back there?
He might, but I feel like something's gonna happen this season, and in Green Bay, and they're gonna turn to him,
and they're gonna bench the great one up there to run the young fella out there.
I'm not saying necessarily gonna get benched, but he's gonna get jettisoned in 2021.
Wow. Oh.
Well, you know, it's possible the Bears could do it because on their new staff, they have Henry Burris to come in, the greatest CFL football player of all time. And he will come in and help Mitch and Aaron Rodgers become superstars in 2022.
Could you see Aaron Rodgers walking into that quarterback room? He's going to walk in there and start laughing and just start smacking people upside the head. You're out of here. You're out of here. Give me some.
Well, can you imagine he and Matt Nagy together?
Oh no.
no.
I said it.
Oh no.
Did you hear what I said about 2 minutes ago when everybody's out of there?
So everybody's fired.
Last year too.
This
is Nagy's last year too.
Yeah,
okay?
like
I said, is Aaron Rodgers going to be the head coach and player? He's going to be a player coach?
He might. But listen, if he's been throwing to garbage for the last 18 years anyway.
Yes.
You think he's not going to welcome Allen Robinson and whoever else they have to throw to? That's like a walk in the park compared to what he's been throwing to lately.
Hey man, are they going to pay Allen Robinson or are they going to make him mad and he ain't going to sign?
He's going to go to the Ravens, like I said.
Oh, dude, the longer they wait, the more it's going to cost to sign this guy. And at some point in time, then it's going to be too much to pay him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know,
because he's padding his stats right now. He's looking real gravy right now.
Right.
He's about the only person you could say that's worthy of being drafted, fantasy-wise for the Bears.
Right.
And he's going pretty high because, especially in the PPR league, oh my God, you know, he's the only one that's worth throwing to.
Yeah, and now you look up. Now you got a Jimmy Graham in there right now, who's going to garner some attention. You got to account for him on the field. Now you can't bracket Robinson like you have been. Well, Jimmy Graham's going to be decent this year. He's going to be the best. I'll say this: he's going to be the best tight end since Greg Olsen that the Bears have had. Let's talk about that.
I don't think.
Well, you know, here's the thing. We just uncovered something. This is Sizzle breaking news.
Uh-oh.
Jimmy Graham was signed to a contract to help usher in Aaron Rodgers to come to the Bears.
Possible.
Yes,
Very
we just
possible.
broke,
That's
we broke that news.
Possible.
Very possible.
And Dorsey Levens will come out of retirement and be the starting tailback.
Dorsey Levens. Wait. Ain't he teaching
We're
algebra?
starting nose tackle Gilbert Brown.
Ain't he teaching algebra somewhere in Wisconsin middle school or something like that?
Living his best life.
See, hey, Rich,
Sipping apple wine and eating cheese curds.
right, Rich,
You
we
wanna
knew he was
bring
gonna
him
pull
out
these names out of nowhere again. You see what I'm saying?
No, here he is.
Right.
Oh, I mean, we can keep going. We can keep going with this because this is ridiculous. But I will say this, and those of you who listened to the podcast before on Iron Skillet Radio, we talked about this with fantasy, and we're going to talk about fantasy in a little bit, but we did talk about the value of having a tight end that's your number one tight end that's not getting any love in any fantasy league, and maybe as your 14th or 15th round pick might be somebody you might want to pick up. And I think the Bears have a plethora of those cats just sitting on their bench waiting for you to snatch them up in your fantasy. But before we go, so it almost sounds like we're resolute that the Bears are going to suck.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen defensively. I know defensively for fantasy, their defense is being taken way too high. I was in a league. The Bears defense was taken in the 10th round.
No, that's crazy.
No, I'm sorry, the 8th round.
That's crazy.
And I was like, really? Oh, okay. Well, God bless you. I don't know what really. And at this point in fantasy, I don't, bad defenses are like kickers, and you're just like, okay, if I can get 7-8 points out of you, cool. If not, I'm not really worried about that. If I lose by the 7-8 points, that's because my team sucks. It's not because of my defense. But is this Bears defense what it was last season? Or I'm not even going to say 2 seasons ago. Is this Bears defense at least on par with what it was last year?
The Bears defense revolves around, is his name Robert Quinn? Is that his name? Is that his first name? I can't remember now.
Yes.
Mr. Quinn, this defense revolves around him. If he can get pressure from the outside and force that non-double team on Khalil Mack over there, and Khalil Mack can at least get some space to operate, the Bears defense is going to be very good. If they could just continually to double Khalil Mack and play them like, who was this long, tall, thin kid that was played for the Bulls that was playing defensive end for the Bears? What was
Roy Robinson Harris?
Yeah, what was his name out there? Yeah. When he had the Bulls starting forward playing.
You're talking about the kid who's not here anymore.
Yeah,
the one that got drafted by the general manager.
Yeah,
who thought he was going to be super. Because he came out of Florida.
Because he was 212 pounds. Look, playing defensive end in the NFL. So, as long as you don't have that guy on the outside for you, and I'm not going to mention his name because I said he never should have been drafted from the beginning. As long as you don't get that guy out there, and Robert Quinn can actually come off the edge, and they have to look for him, and Khalil Mack can go hunt and eat, the Bears defense has a chance. If he's going to get double teamed all day, now you're looking at a guy who's going to get nicked up, banged up, and once he gets nicked up, he's not as aggressive as he normally is, and the Bears defense is going to suffer. They need that pressure. You got, who's not playing? Robbie Gold's not playing, right? Not Robbie Goldman. No. Goldman's
Eddie
out. Goldman, Eddie Goldman. I don't know why I got all these names jacked up. But Eddie Goldman's not playing, so you don't really have that big pressure up in the middle. And then the next thing, I know, Rich, I'm probably taking your thunder on this, is that Akeem Hicks. He's got a ball out.
Yeah, you just took it.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, but he's got to go ahead, Rich, go on that one.
You're halfway right with Quinn. You're halfway right with the Bears defense and Quinn is a key cog, but the other part of that is Akeem Hicks.
Yeah.
He can be healthy and take, like you said, take that pressure off in the middle where you don't have those gaps. And then you allow, like you said, Mack and Quinn to do their thing, come in and force the quarterbacks to make bad decisions, force the route runners to think twice about where they're supposed to go. You got to remember something. I am not saying draft any defense anytime soon in this fantasy league, but there's a reason why they are being drafted, because a lot of those players from the Bears are back. and they didn't lose much, but they gained decent players too. So they do have value as a defense because you want that defense, especially now. There's no preseason, no games or anything like that. So you want that defense that's familiar with themselves. So they're going to do good. They're not going to do, let's just say, if you're drafting and Jerry Jeudy is still available, you don't draft the Bears defense over a prospective receiver like that.
Yeah.
I'll just put it into that kind of perspective. Well, I guess we'll talk about the fantasy outlines a little bit later, but like I said, I do understand why the Bears are rated high. Are they the highest rated? I don't know, because when you're looking at fantasy now, you want to look at either which team is doing punt returns for touchdowns or which team has a likelihood to take one to the house off a pick six or something like that. The Bears did it very well in 2018 or 19. I'm getting the years mixed up. 2020's got me all confused. But the year before, the Bears did it very well. Last year, not so much. If they turn the corner and get it back there, Bears are a diamond in the rough. Are they going to do it? Probably not. But what other defenses are going to produce like that is what I'll ask you.
Yeah, I think that the question is, when you have the Bears, you have Jalen Johnson now starting on the other side as a corner, and you've got Roquan Smith that needs to improve his game. I think one of the keys for the Bears defense is going to be what's going to happen with Danny Trevathan. Is he going to be able to stay healthy? When Danny Trevathan is healthy with Akeem Hicks, and now you bring in Robert Quinn, you've got a good tandem right there in that middle. Right there in the box, you're pretty good. But the question is going to be, what are they going to do in the secondary? Safety's going to hold up. You've got a rookie now who's going to be starting at safety and at corner. So it's dicey. But the biggest question out of this whole thing is we're missing the best person on the Bears right now. And that is your combo tight end, receiver, running back. One of the best players on the Bears right now. He's the ultimate man. He's a returner. He's a kick specialist. He is everything that you need. He is the man that took you to one defensive touchdown last year. He's a man that in the open field, if you put him on the open field, he is a monster at 6'2" and like 200, and they say he's like 240. He looks like he's about 280. He looks a few stacks.
Where's my violin?
I know.
Yeah, well, Cordell Patterson, the greatest Bear out there, even better than Tariq Cohen.
Look,
that's the one I'm putting my money on.
Look,
in the 15th or 16th round of my fantasy team.
Cordell Patterson is not a bad football player. I like Cordell Patterson on your team.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like him playing running back. You know what I'm saying? Put him in the SWAT, do something with him, but don't put him back there to carry. He's 6'8", running the football back there. He runs straight up and down like Eric Dickerson, and he's going to get clapped. Look, this guy, you cannot have him running the football for you on a regular basis. He's a gadget guy. That's what he is. You put him back there. What's that? Not the pistol. What do you put that? What do they call that? The Badger, whatever they call it.
You could put him in the pistol. You could put him in the Wildcat.
You could put
him in.
Yeah, you put him in the
Wildcat.
modified
I. You could put him in the T formation.
You put him out at wide receiver and leave him out there and run slap patterns.
You could put him at the
That's
wing.
what you need to be doing with him.
You could make because
you can do the shotgun.
We're going to the wing T, Greg.
Yeah.
We're going
okay.
back to the wing
you know what? You know why we're going to go to the wing T? Because
one
of the best goal line packages the Bears had was the wing T.
But you're not worried about him throwing the football out of the Wildcat.
Oh, obviously not. But
I mean, maybe he could do it.
At 350 pounds, he's still like the fastest person out there, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's a heck of an athlete. Yeah, this guy's a big dude, man. He's a heck of an athlete.
I'm just saying,
he's
still fast.
Yeah.
He is still very, like, wow. Okay.
I mean, but can we have a real running back? Can we have a real running back running the football? A real one?
Now, hold on. Pump the brakes for a second.
Okay.
I know we've talked about the running back game, but the person who's, I think, going to be comeback player of the year is Tariq Cohen this year. This is why I say that.
He's coming back where?
To the Bears.
Oh, okay.
He's still there?
Okay.
Right,
Listen here.
Right.
Listen here.
Right.
he has no reason not to succeed this year, given the fact that they have more tight ends than they have any other position on the field, which means when those big guys are coming out there, he has the golden opportunity to be in that slant pattern, to go inside and get that cover check down and run for a good 7-8 yards, hopefully out of bounds, and keep chunking away.
So you're saying he's going to be successful in an inside zone run scheme? That's what you're saying?
Yes, I do. I know it sounds crazy, but yes,
no, it doesn't sound crazy. It is crazy. It is crazy, my friend.
No,
you have tried to see him in those inside runs. Now, if you said an outside run zone, I have no problem with that. I think he could do that all day, every day. I think the Bears could kill you at 10 yards a chunk on those plays.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
But if you're talking about putting him in that inside, you're talking about running him up those middle gaps, which we saw last year. Yeah, well, you saw David Montgomery get killed doing that.
Yes, I said the tight ends will do that, which will open the lanes for Tariq Cohen.
Yeah, well, your tight ends can't set an edge for you. That's the first problem. So nobody's worried about the Bears getting outside. And we're going to hope that commit. We know for a fact that a certain tight end that came from Green Bay via the Seahawks. Was that the right way where he went to before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Via the Seahawks. We know he ain't gonna block for a quarter.
I'm talking about that certain tight end they drafted from Notre Dame.
Oh, commit.
Commit's
got a chance to be good.
The Gold Domer.
He has a chance to be great.
You know, if they could get
wait.
Hey, pump the brakes on that, Rich.
Did you?
Yeah, I said.
Okay, big bad. Great what?
Okay.
What's he gonna be great at? Is he a receiver? Is he a blocker? Is he a runner? What's he gonna be great at?
Let me tell you something. A year ago, when I said that Yu Darvish was going to turn the table and be that man in Chicago, you all was like crazy. Oh, he's you garbage and blah blah blah. Have you seen him this year? Y'all are eating crow right now because he's been killing it. Yes. So, yes, when I say Kmet is going to be a great tight end in the future, we're going to revisit this a year from now. And I'll be like, remember that we were talking about that and you all called me crazy? Okay. All right.
I'm going to say a year from now.
Here. Where's that big cup that Jay was just drinking? Pass me my cup. I'll sit back here. We'll talk about that next year. Yep.
I'm going to say to you at this point, if we just talked about two terrible quarterbacks, I'm going to say, do you remember that tight end that they drafted? Yeah, the one that Mitchell Trubisky got killed on a slant play.
Him. That's a real possibility now because Mitch hung out Robinson to dry last year a couple of times. Remember they just stretched him out over the middle.
A couple of times.
Stretched him out over the middle.
You were just like,
it's Mitch.
Yeah. And that's what I would have said. You, Mitch.
Wow.
You sent me out on another. You sent me out, and then he was trying because his back was like this. He said, "You sent me out on another slant like that, man." I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna kill you." Yeah, okay. How you gonna get the ball to somebody and you're a terrible quarterback? Yeah. He's gonna be a great tight end. Yeah, he is for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
No, when Aaron Rodgers comes.
Man.
That's 2022.
How old will Aaron Rodgers be in? About 48 by the time he comes plays for the Bears?
Still better than what we got.
You're absolutely
like
right.
Joe Montana. He'll just be out there like, hey, I've got some.
You know what's really bad about the Bears? You would take Brett Favre right now over Mitchell Trubisky.
Dude. I'd
take Jim McMahon over Mitchell Trubisky.
I'd take Jim Harbaugh over
Wow.
Mitchell Trubisky.
Ooh, you went back some.
Yeah. I was going to go Moses Moreno, but I was like, maybe he's not. He's not.
I forgot Moses Marino. He was,
Yeah. Remember the second coming of Slash when he became a Bear?
Hey, you know what? Not too bad, though, if they'd have used him right. You got to use these guys right.
I'm just...
Do not air horn me again, sir.
If you say use Slash right when he was with the Bears, it was that was horrible. That's horrible. So when we get ready, we're going to come back because we're going to reconvene and then we're going to talk about fantasy. So we're going to open the floor up to the one person on this panel who is the fantasy expert, and that's me. No, we're going to talk.
Who was that?
We're going to talk to Rich Sizzle about fantasy and fantasy football and what it's going to look like in 2020 here on the Sizzle. All right, Rich. So let's get ready to run into this. Let's get ready to dive right in it. We're going to dive in the pile of fantasy hoo-ha that we call fantasy hoo-ha. It's the Gridiron's
Hoo-ha!
fantasy,
Right.
the Gridiron's
Good word for
fantasy
me.
segment, the hoo-ha.
We're gonna call it
Let's talk
hoo-ha.
about the hoo-ha and the woo-ha and the ha-ha-ha. What's going to happen with fantasy? So, okay, Rich, walk us through fantasy this season. The floor is yours. Do your fantasy thing. Just talk about it. Do it.
Do it.
Get to
Okay.
the chopper.
I'm gonna let y'all throw names if y'all want, but I will say this though. Let's try to skip the obvious.
Okay.
We're gonna obviously talk about Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel.
Mhm.
Let's not talk about.
I've got the
first
number one
round.
pick.
I can't
Yeah.
stand it. I'm sitting there when I've been in about 4 or 5 drafts already, and they're sitting. Oh yeah, you've got the number 3 pick, or you've got the number 7 pick. You're gonna have a great year with who? I'm like, yeah, everybody knows. Okay, yeah, 3rd pick, we're gonna pick Ezekiel Elliott. Don't waste my time.
Okay.
Okay,
So
don't waste my time.
let's waste your time with one really burning question that's happening.
Sure.
This is a fire question. Is Patrick Mahomes worth taking in the 2nd round of your fantasy draft?
Depends on the scoring sheet. If you're, I'm watching a lot of people sneak in that want to pick Patrick Mahomes in the 1st or 2nd round. If they sneak in a stat that says passing touchdowns are worth 6 points, yes, because he's on that level of it's Patrick Mahomes with passing touchdowns, and then there's whoever else. Now, unfortunately, the other part of that is the quarterback position is so deep right now that Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers are like rated the 13th through 15th best quarterback
Yeah, that's crazy.
in the league.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So when you've got quarterbacks of that caliber, even Tom Brady is like rated 16 or 17. You're drafting these guys on your bench.
Right.
It
Right.
may not be valuable to look at a Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson, especially when you can be drafting Josh Jacobs from Las Vegas, who's also in the 2nd round. Running backs have always been the bread and butter of fantasy football. You luck up and get a good stash of running backs that aren't getting hurt, that are playing consistent, you're going to win your league. So that's my cue, my what I would say, focus on the running game. Get your stable of good running backs. Your receivers, they're going to come. You may not get Michael Thomas. You may not get Julio Jones, especially if you're focusing on running backs. But, again, I'm seeing Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, they're all being drafted 3rd or 4th round. Amari Cooper's not even being taken until the 5th or 6th round in some leagues. These are all high volume, high caliber players. I know I have said before, I don't like 2 wide receiver settings, like I said, when we go back to Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. But look at the system. They're going to get receptions. They're going to get volume. They are going to play. So my thing about fantasy football this year is be patient. It's going to be nothing different than last year as far as players. You have a few rookies here that they're high on. I don't know. I would pass on that Chiefs running back that they've talked about. I know they're going to try to cater to him, but I just think that drafting him 6th or 7th is just kind of egregious for me. And they have not even gone and said if Jonathan Taylor is going to be the starter over Marlon Mack right now in Indianapolis. I see him coming off the board in the 1st round as well.
You know, it is egregious when we're talking about some of the moves that are being made. With Hilaire going the 4th or 5th running back in most fantasy leagues, I don't see it. And as you said, there are people who are dropping down where you can get Deshaun Watson, you can get Dak Prescott, you can get quality quarterbacks, Russell Wilson, all of them in the 5th round, 5th, sometimes 6th. So it really we were talking about that earlier. Jay and I were saying in one of my fantasy leagues, I was able to get David Montgomery in the 14th round.
Yeah,
Because of how the drafting fell.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is now, if you don't have these really deep leagues, 10-team leagues, something like that, I wouldn't worry about quarterback too much. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I really wouldn't worry about it because you're good almost down to 20 right now. You know, fantasy points wise, and like Rich is saying, you got it. But if you can get that running back, that running back tandem 2 or 3, they're going to be producing points for you every week, all the time. You can run away with your league with the right pick. So that's definitely without a doubt about that. What about, hey, Rich, what do you think about and this is real obvious because we're in Chicago. Do you think now with the retooling of the Bears a little bit, do you think Tariq Cohen might be a guy you want to pick up late if you have a chance and put him on your bench? Because we know you only averaged like 4.4 yards last year per carry, but I think he's going to be used a little bit differently this year. Do you think that's a guy I want to take a shot and stick him on my bench later on as the rounds go?
In a PPR league,
Yeah.
yes. He's still gonna get thrown to. He's still gonna get receptions. Like you said, he may repeat last year and only do 3 or 4 yards. But when you're talking about receptions and giving you 1 point each, those points add up.
Yeah.
So I would say in a PPR league, absolutely. In a standard league, you might want to pass on him if somebody else takes him. It's not a big deal. That's just how I feel. Like you said, David Montgomery is that bell cow.
Yeah.
And he's going late in the rounds where you're drafting a bench player. So if it's not a PPR league and David Montgomery is still available, that's who you want to draft over Tariq Cohen.
You know, you just talked about the Buccaneers situation with their receiving core. Now, a couple of seasons I've had Mike Evans, and he's had some of those great runs, 2-3 games. He was 100 yards, and he was good. He gave you a few touchdowns, 100 yards. Then he had those games where he disappeared completely, and I do understand it was the QB situation. But let's talk to the listeners about handcuffing, because a lot of times we talk about handcuffing players. Is it wise in this situation where you have Godwin and you've got Mike Evans, should you handcuff those two together, being that they'll be your number 1 and number 2 receivers for the Buccaneers?
I highly doubt you'll get the chance.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, no, in this situation, because either Godwin or Mike Evans are being drafted both in the 3rd or 4th round.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think you're going to get that shot. If you had an opportunity where you drafted, say, Godwin in the 3rd round, Mike Evans is still available in the 5th or 6th round, which isn't happening. Yeah, absolutely, but it's not going to happen. So let's take that handcuffing off the board right now.
Mm-hmm.
If that happens, you get the unicorn. You probably in a league where you're going to win already because you got a whole bunch of idiots or inexperienced. Inexperienced fantasy players who are drafting the kicker in the 5th round or something like that.
Nobody drafts a kicker in the 5th round. That's fake news.
I've seen it.
Oh, I just saw
I've seen it
with Tuck from Baltimore. I just saw it with Baltimore's kicker and with Kansas City's kicker. I saw a guy take one. He took 2 kickers. He took one in the 6th round, and then he took one in like the 13th round.
He cornered the marketing kickers.
Yeah.
Literally, and I think his plan was, you're going to have to come see me about these kickers. So you need a kicker, come holler at your guy.
Yeah, he'll be sitting there with those
don't
kickers.
Don't do that.
Yeah,
no, handcuffing is a good. Handcuffing is a good practice if you can do it right, but not with the Buccaneers. They're not going to let you. What you might be able to handcuff is Rob Gronkowski if you think he's going to be healthy and if you think he's going to play the snap volume that you expect. You have seen him from the old, like literally being out there on every snap. I don't think either of that's going to happen. No. But
yeah, it's funny.
If he does play, he should do volumes.
I saw a young lady take in one of the fantasy leagues. She took Gronkowski in like the 5th round, and you still had Mark Andrews on the board. You still had some guys who were there. I think you still had Waller on the board at that time. She did that, and you're just like, I don't think that's your best bet. I mean, you still got players like Greg Olsen who aren't getting even drafted, and you know he's going to be a TE1 in that system, at least at the beginning of the season.
Right.
So you know he's going to be there. And again, we just talked about it with the Bears tight end situation. You know who Graham is going to be their number one until Kmet comes in and supplants him. So it's strange. But Rich, how do you feel about taking a situation where you take two high-end quarterbacks, and you try and really you draft and stash them. You're going to take them and then keep one there for trading or for trade purposes later on. Does that work in a standard league?
Not unless you lucked up and drafted, like last year you happened to draft Russell Wilson and happened to just stash Lamar Jackson. But is there a Lamar Jackson-ish quarterback available in late rounds that you can stash that's going to be Lamar Jackson-ish? I don't know. I'm asking you at this point. Maybe Joe Burrow might, but with that Cincinnati offensive line, I think he's got a little development time to do.
That's a long shot on that one.
These are your stash options. Realistically, like I said, people are drafting Aaron Rodgers as a backup quarterback right now, along with Drew Brees
and Tom Brady.
And well, a lot of people are not sleeping on Tom Brady. I'm seeing him going 4th, 5th, or 6th QB option.
Really? Okay.
Yes. I don't argue with that because, I mean, given all the weapons around him, he should at least hit his 15 to 20 point mark, especially in leagues where they're sneaking that quarterback touchdown to 6 points instead of 4, which is the standard. I would say don't be sleep on Phillip Rivers.
Okay.
Or even Derek Carr.
Okay.
Given the systems that they're in, given the players they have around and their schedule, they should do fine. But you don't draft them as your starting quarterback either. I'm actually seeing leagues where Carson Wentz isn't even being drafted.
Yeah, I had one where it was an auto rotation, and I got a decent team, but my starting quarterback is Carson Wentz, and I was not happy with that at all. Not when you had, in which I did go, you had Cam Newton sitting right there. He was a free agent. Nobody had even drafted him, and he was sitting there. I was like, I'll take my shot with Cam any day over Carson Wentz. Yeah, okay. So I feel just as good with Cam there as I do Carson Wentz.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm just saying, but it's funny we're seeing that. So here are 3 names, and since I just talked about it, Cam Newton in some leagues is just sitting out there. Even though he's been named the starter, he's sitting there. Teddy Bridgewater is sitting there and not being used. And Daniel Jones of the Giants. They're just sitting there. They're all quarterbacks who are going to be starting quarterbacks. They're going to have the snaps. They're going to get reps. Are they worth picking up in the later rounds in a standard league?
Of those 3, Teddy Bridgewater might be your Lamar Jackson of last year. But he faces a great challenge because who is he throwing to?
Right.
Aside from McCaffrey, what they're going high on DJ Moore. I think that's his wide receiver 1. But he's an unproven talent. He did not prove. I mean, when you're the guy, you're expected to volume up with nobody else to throw to, 1,400 yards or something like that. Is he going to do that this year? I mean, the man is not Michael Thomas, and that's who Bridgewater was thrown to, where he was shining in that New Orleans system last year.
That's true.
Is DJ Moore Michael Thomas?
That's true.
No, but I mean, he's a realistic person to draft in earlier rounds when you're looking for a 2nd or 3rd wide receiver. Absolutely.
Okay.
But like I said, he's not Michael Thomas, so I understand why Bridgewater is not being drafted. He doesn't have anybody to throw to. He's going to have to get real creative out there in that Carolina system that caters only to McCaffrey pretty much.
Interesting. So before we go, there is one thing we need to get on the table and see if this works. Outside of George Kittle and Kelsey, is it recommendable, feasible? Is it even plausible to draft your tight end in the second or third round when you're putting your team together?
No, listen to my voice. No, absolutely not. I don't know how I feel about drafting Kittle or Kelsey in the first and second rounds myself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I said, with the league set the way it is now, with your running back play, if you've got a 1,200-yard perspective rushing running back on the board, you don't not pick him for the sake of going after Kittle.
Yeah.
Or Kelsey. It's just my opinion. Now, if you feel like you've got that running back diamond in the rough, you think Adrian Peterson is going to somehow channel his Minnesota days out there in Detroit, and you can pick him up in the 17th round, hey, maybe that's a good option for you.
Hey, Rich, do you think a lot of times people are just picking names more than just looking at the situations that they're in? And you see guys because sometimes you see some draft boards and you go, what are these people thinking about? Like, that guy's production has been going down 2 years in a row, and why did you draft him in the 4th and 5th round when you had other people who are probably more productive? People need to do their homework a little bit more. Can you tell the people how to do their homework a little bit? A way to just an easy way, a couple of minutes. Or how do I find out the best fantasy way? Who do I pick? How do I go about doing that?
Well, everybody's got that sleeper / nostalgia thing because there was no preseason. There's no hype about football whatsoever. I'm a little disappointed. And then fantasy football came around. It caught everybody off guard.
Absolutely right.
What you need to do now is start practicing doing mock drafts. That is what I would say. Do them now. Right while we're talking, start doing one. I mean, you can do it on your phone, computer, whatever. Play for kicks and giggles. Pick what. Go through different rounds. Like, say, hey, most of these drafts are being random. So you don't know where you're going to draft until the draft day it is. Go in a mock draft, be the first person, be the last, be the middle. Figure out what's comfortable for you, see who's being picked up, and then dictate and dominate your draft like that. Be the trendsetter. Be that dark horse trick person that's going to take somebody off the board that no one's seeing that starts another pattern or trend. Don't do it for a kicker, please, God, no. But that's the that's what I would give anybody the advice to do. Like I said, I've always been high on volume and production. Don't go necessarily looking at names, like you said. For when you've got somebody like Calvin Ridley available, if he goes too high in the second or third round, let him go.
Yeah.
Focus on not necessarily what they say the projections are, but look at product volume, productivity, what's going on in their division. Who's playing? Who's not playing? Who decided to take a COVID year off? That's supposedly backing this person up. There's a lot of ins and outs of this, and if we're gonna talk about kickers, here's the strategy for kickers: dead last, and preferably somebody that's kicking in warm climate, because when the winter time comes around, that ball is gonna feel like a glass shard. It's not gonna feel good.
Yeah.
So tight ends, I have a few names I could throw in there. That, like you said, when Kittle and Kelsey and Gronkowski are all off the board and you're looking for names to scramble, one name I would say, Hayden Hurst from Atlanta. Last year, Austin Hooper was the surprise sleeper of all. But that system has always been designed for tight ends to sneak in there and have a productive year, especially when you have Julio Jones. You've got to throw to somebody when you're going in a double or triple coverage.
Right.
Hayden Hurst will be that guy. Another system player, and he's not even being drafted, so you might just be able to pick him up off a humbug, is Jack Doyle from Indianapolis. You have Phillip Rivers and an offensive scheme that, again, catered to tight ends. And he's not even being drafted. I don't understand why. And he is the TE1 over there. But you also have names like Evan Ingram who aren't being drafted until 10th and 11th round during the ether rounds as well. So don't focus. If you can't get Kittle or Kelsey, don't worry. There are still good tight end names out there. Don't panic. don't draft a tight end when you have other players available to draft either. That's the whole part about fantasy is don't get so caught up in I've got to fill this spot, this roster spot that's empty for the sake of missing out on good players that are right in front of you.
You know, that's a word to live by. And I guess that's where we're going to end it with this segment of the Gridiron Fantasy. And when we come back, we're going to talk about our biscuits being burned. There are some things that are going on in the sports world that we need to talk about. We need to discuss the Travis Shamockeryism of what is happening in the sports world. In fact, let's talk about some of this fake news when we come back. All right, gentlemen. So we're coming to the end of the road of this wonderful voyage. But before we go, Jay Sizzle, I know there have been a lot of things on your mind. So tell me, what has been burning your biscuits?
You know, are the Cubs really, really, really good? Or this is going to be one of the biggest letdowns we've seen in Chicago sports? Because I don't know. I have no idea. They look great, then they look like trash. They look great. I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, I wonder, are we going to have a champion in the Chicago sports scene in the next decade from any of the major sports? You know, and the only team I think we got a shot at is the White Sox, and somehow I think Ricky Renteria is going to mess that up. So it's a sad day to be a Chicago fan, and that's what's burning my biscuits.
Wow. All right, Rich Sizzle, what is it that's burning your biscuits?
Man, everything is burning my biscuits right now. Where do you want me to start? You want me to start local? You want me to start sports? You want me to start politics? Which one?
No, man, you can have multiple charred biscuits all over. You go where you want to go, bro.
Okay. Local biscuit burning is NIPSCO. Why is every time the wind decides to do a little bit of a shad fart, my power goes out?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
That's really burning my biscuits. I can't even burn my biscuits because my electricity's not running.
My power went out right before we went on air for about it went out. It's incredible.
Mine went out last night. It finally came on at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it's incredible.
You know, like you just said, what is going on in Chicago sports? What in the world? I mean, we've got to face a whole year of what for the Bulls? We got to face a whole year of Mitch Trubisky. Mitch Trubisky burning me.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on in baseball because, like you said, today we're on the top of the mountain, and tomorrow we're, and politically, I am not gonna box myself in a system where it's like either, hey, you have to be all the way left or you have to be all the way right. I'm gonna go home. You're not gonna sit there and convince me that one side is the devil while the other side is the angel, and I'm looking at horns on both of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have a middle ground person I can vote for? This name is not Kanye West.
I know.
I'm at a loss. I've gone to other countries and felt more comfortable knowing that I stand out, and at least they're like, hey, he stands out, but let's go buy him a round of beers instead of sitting there talking about what they want to talk about. Like, oh my God, I can't believe you feel like that. You said the grass is green. That grass isn't green. Get out of here.
That's crazy. It's crazy out here.
This is America 2020, and it's really burning my biscuits.
It really might be that we have an independent like Pinky for president. It could happen. I don't know. Yeah, well, that was all I could think about. I mean, I couldn't even.
Was that it?
Yeah, I couldn't. Like, it's bad when you can't even come up with an independent candidate. I thought it was going to be The Rock, but then he got the COVID, and now, I don't know.
The Rock got the COVID?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I've been in the cave, dude. I ain't been outside that mess.
Yeah, man. I mean, but the best thing about it is understanding the COVID's not real. It's fake news.
Fake news. That's fake news.
Hey,
matter of fact, everything we talked about today is fake news.
Hey,
Mitch Trubisky is not the starter, okay? That's fake news.
Oh, man. Oh, God.
Corey Crawford
Rondo
is
does
a
not
good
have,
goaltender.
cornrows. That's fake news.
Yes,
That's
yes.
fake hair.
It's fake hair.
The Chicago Sky are a great WNBA team.
Well, they were until they got rid of
What, the Deladon or who they got rid of? Yeah.
they got rid of her.
I don't even know if they got rid of Deladon. I think she just left.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She was just like, I'm not coming back. I'm not going to come back.
It's the curse of Chicago, man. I'm telling you.
Well, at least we've got the Chicago Fire. And I don't mean like in protest. I mean the soccer team.
Yeah, be careful when you say that. That could be all types of problems going on.
Yeah.
Say
Yeah.
no. The soccer team.
Yeah.
They played. No, they really. Well, fellas, I'm going to have to tell you, the thing that burns my biscuits is we're looking at a Bulls team that's getting ready to go into the bubble because they weren't invited to the bubble. So how they even have any information coming out of the bubble is still up for grabs because nobody from the Bulls is in the bubble.
Yeah.
But, you've got a team. And with now Steve Nash becoming the head coach of a Nets team, a man who has no coaching experience.
Oh,
Zero.
Here we go.
None at all.
Oh.
And you've got Mark Jackson sitting on a sideline being able to give you quotes and tell you, mama, there go that bad man. And that bad man did things to the Rockets last night. He said it, and he called out plays before they were even on the play. I'm just saying to you right now, what's burning my biscuits is that I feel that the Bulls are going to hire Scott Burrell as the new head coach.
Yeah, it's going to be something ridiculous. It's going to be something absolutely ridiculous. I said before, it's time to go get Mark Jackson, Tyronn Lue, somebody who can actually recruit players to the Bulls. That's what you need to have.
You know who would be the best coach?
Hold on. I'm sorry.
Stacey King. Yep, Stacey King.
Oh, my God.
He's watched the Bulls more than anybody else.
Yeah.
That's a good pick.
He's had to. Like,
So
literally.
wait a minute. The Bulls don't have a coach?
No.
I've been going. And listen, I told you I ain't had no nips going a long time. All right.
Oh, they ain't got no coach.
I ain't had
They're-
no electricity.
They're
no
magical.
team.
They're magical.
I know
They're waiting
they
for the
fired
bubble
their
to be
guy.
over. They're waiting
I
for
know
the
they
bubble to
fired
be
their
over.
guy, but they didn't hire nobody. They
No.
just been like, no.
No, they didn't hire
Well,
nobody.
yeah, go get Mark Jackson then. Come on.
Go get Mark
I mean,
Jackson.
The best is you might get Udoka, and the only good thing about that is he's going to bring his wife with him, and that'll be really good at the United Center.
You know, you're going to stay on that lane by yourself, sir. I'm getting off the train right now.
No, I was just saying, okay, you don't want to see Nia Long at the.
I am going to say this.
You don't want to see her at the United Center.
I didn't
you
know
don't
he
see
was,
Nia
I didn't know
Long
he was
there?
married to Nia Long.
Yes.
I'm getting off of that train. I'm getting back on to the coaching thing. I did not have a problem with the Nets picking up Steve Nash.
Oh no, without doubt. I thought it was a good pickup, and I'm gonna tell you else who thought it was a good pickup. KD thought it was a good pickup, and Kyrie, because if both of them didn't agree to it, it wouldn't happen.
Do you think anything that KD and Kyrie Irving say is a good idea? You really do? You think that's a good idea?
Steve Nash was on the Warriors helping develop those players over there when KD was there. That's how they got together. So I didn't see that as a big problem. He doesn't have any head coaching experience, but he's been in the league coaching players in the league inside the NBA. So he's been around. It ain't like it isn't like he was sleeping on his couch and they said, "Hey, you want to coach the basketball team?" Oh, sure, why not? I'll go out here.
Well,
No, he's been out
Jim
there.
Boylan, he was around championship teams too. Jim Boylan was on Greg Popovich's staff. He was a Spur.
Was he a two-time MVP?
No, he met the MVPs.
I'm going to go back to something you just said, G Sizzle. Okay, no, this is the problem that I'm having. People need to stay in their lane. Do I ask KD or Kyrie Irving for history lessons or religious lessons or political lessons or even how to tie my shoes? Absolutely not. But if I ask them about basketball, they better come with a good fundamental answer. And so if they say they want that guy, Steve Nash, that's a good answer because Steve Nash is a former basketball two-time MVP, captain player caliber.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he also developed Mark Jackson's players.
I
Those are
don't
Mark
care
Jackson's players.
what Kyrie's feelings are about how the earth is being flat around. I care how he dribbles that round basketball. That's about as far as it is.
I would love to have a flat Earth discussion with him, just to see where he goes with it.
Wouldn't that be something?
That
with
would be
he
great.
And Neil deGrasse, just can you imagine that kind of conversation?
And the person moderating it is Professor Griff.
But you know what?
All right,
He
so
got,
now it's time to go. No, you can't bring Griff in. If you want to be on the air, don't bring on Griff. You can't do it.
Oh my God.
Griff is going to get you off the air.
Oh, you're gonna get put right off. Soon as Griff comes on the show, your show is canceled.
Oh yeah, immediately.
Immediately.
But I know who's going to be hot. Yo, Public Enemy is going to be back on deck.
Are they
Jam.
back?
30 years.
Are they
getting
back?
ready to release the album.
They got Flav back? Flav coming? Because it ain't Public Enemy without Flav.
Flav. Oh, it's Public Enemy with Flavor Flav. In
Nice.
fact, they got Fight the Power, the remix 2020.
Oh, it's
That's
the
the Sizzle song of the week.
I was just bumping that yesterday. I think Trump's gonna use that in his rally.
we gotta go. We gotta go.
Yeah,
We gotta go.
You know, I can't even.
We're gonna get canceled.
Ooh, yeah, I mean, I can't do it with you. Listen, fans, if you're listening to us, and please forgive Jay Sizzle, he's been tired. He had to get up early this morning.
Man,
But
4:45.
if you're trying to find us, please look for us anywhere on social media at Iron Skillet Sports. And if you can't find us there, just put in #skillet_sports. You can find us everywhere that Iron Skillet Radio and Iron Skillet Television is. So for your man, G Sizzle, he's Jay Sizzle. He's Rich Sizzle. We are the Sizzle. We are the talk of the 219, and we are out of here, baby. We'll see you on the other side.